Okay. So we'll go ahead and open up with the Pledge of Allegiance. If Commissioner Miller, can you lead the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Miller. Thank you. So we'll go ahead and do roll call.
All right, roll call. Commissioner Ballesteros.
Present.
Commissioner Miller.
Present.
And Commissioner Goodwin.
Present.
Okay. Quorum.
Quiet. Sorry, that's my dog. Sorry. Okay, so we'll open up. Is there any comments from the public? Anybody? None?
No, not that we see.
Okay. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go to, there was no minutes, right? No minutes, because they canceled the December. So we'll go ahead and go to new business, resolution 3042. Authorization to add, I guess, should we, this is every new business, all those resolutions.
Mhm.
30
So
Go
yes,
ahead.
so-
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so what we're doing, so part of the, as you see in the resolutions, we're adding these positions to the HACM headcount as a result of the joint Board of Supervisors, Board of Commissioners, and Board of Directors that we are bringing in HDC under HACM into one structure. So what we need to do is we did research and we found equivalent positions to bring those employees over. So these are the resolutions to add these positions to our headcount. So we're looking to add housing development analyst. We're looking to add 3 of those positions. Then we're going to be adding one project manager, 1 director of housing development, and 1 finance officer. So all these staff members would be devoted to development and would still be handling the business that they were handling with HDC. It'll just be under HACM. So they'll be a HACM employee. But first, in order to fulfill the transition, we have to create the positions that we can move them into. So that's the gist of all of these resolutions.
Okay.
Okay, and then we included the job description so everybody could see what the job description was associated with these new positions. Did anybody have any questions on the positions?
Seems pretty clear cut on the best way to bring them over to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
No.
didn't have any positions. We didn't have any development positions per se, so that's why we had to create new ones. So that's why we're adding to the headcount. But they're all exempt positions. So they are not part of the union or the bargaining unit because they all have significant independence and decision-making authority.
Okay. And the other question, a question I do have, Darlene. So the other staff that are not, they're not exempt, they're not classified exempt, but they're just like administration support staff. So do they keep their title or?
There's no administration support staff over in HDC. Everybody kind of wears multiple hats. So,
all these positions will cover their positions?
Correct. So there's a total of 6 positions here that are coming. So basically the director of housing development, that would be Carolina, the finance officer, that would be Marilyn, the project manager would be Fred, and then the 3 housing development analysts, that's Nora, Stacy, and Jessica. So the 3 analysts, they kind of wear multiple hats. So they do some administration, but most of the stuff they're doing really qualifies under an analyst position because with reporting, they're working with financing and compliance with financing and all the construction projects.
Darlene, I don't know if Gabriella's still on. Can you ask her to, I need to look at all those resolutions because I don't have it in my email. It's not showing up. I'm looking at it right now. I think it went to the I think it went to the HACM, but I don't have it on Yahoo.
It was attached to the Zoom invitation, but I can resend it.
Let me see.
Commissioner, once you accept the invitation for the meeting, it automatically gets deleted from your email and it goes into your calendar. If you go into your calendar and open that meeting, you'll be able to see it in your calendar.
Okay, alrighty. I will look. Let's see.
Kathleen, on mine, on the calendar invite, after I accepted it, it became a PDF near the very bottom there. There were like 2 attachments, one to put it on your calendar and then a PDF file. I found it in the PDF file.
Okay, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah. Okay, go ahead and we'll just continue with the meeting. I'll look at it later and then any questions I have, then I'll just address it when we have our regular board meeting.
Okay, perfect. And then if at any time between now and then, if you see anything that needs to be changed, we
Okay.
can go ahead and get that primed up before the board meeting. So what I'm looking to do is move this to the full board meeting, but it would be new business in the board meeting.
Okay, sounds good. Do I have a motion?
Well, can I just check, can we move all these at one time, Darlene? Or do we have to do each one independently since they're separate resolutions?
Let's do them separately, just in case.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You can make one motion and just mention each.
Yeah, can we bring the agenda back up just so I can see the
number.
resolution number? Sorry, I'm on an iPad too and trying to look at the agenda on my iPhone. It's really not working.
I'm gonna look at you because then they're gonna know that you're here.
So, Chair, I will make a motion to approve resolution 3042. And
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call,
Roll call. Commissioner Ballesteros,
yes.
Commissioner Miller,
yes,
Commissioner Goodwin,
Yes,
okay, unanimous pass.
Thank you. So now we'll go to resolution 3043, authorization to add job position project manager for housing development. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 3043.
And do I have,
second
okay, thank you. Roll call?
Commissioner Ballesteros,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes,
Commissioner Goodwin,
it. Yes,
unanimous pass.
Okay, now resolution 3044, authorization to add job position director of housing development. And I do want to say these are going to new business to the board for board consent. I just need to make, I don't think I did that on the other 2 resolutions, but I do want it. So do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I'll again make a motion to approve resolution 3044.
and I'll second it.
Okay, roll call?
Hey, Commissioner Ballesteros
Yes.
and Commissioner Miller
Yes,
and Commissioner Goodwin,
Yes,
Okay, unanimous pass.
Okay, now resolution 3045, authorization to add job position finance officer. I think the R is missing,
Yep.
right?
I was missing.
Okay, house development. Okay, do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion for approval of resolution 3045.
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call, please.
Hey, Commissioner Ballesteros,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Goodwin.
Yes,
Okay, unanimous pass. All these items will move to the full board for next week's meeting under new business.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for being patient.
And
For kids. Okay, now we're gonna go to, what was next? Is it?
if I could interject, there's another resolution that we are working on that is not yet drafted.
Mhm.
And wanted to give you the flavor of it and see whether or not you would approve it going to the full board.
Okay.
There has been a employee who has requested to work remotely from another state. And this is a policy question because there are implications for the Housing Authority or for HDC, namely, if the board decided to become a multi-state employer, then Housing Authority employees could work remotely from any state, but the Housing Authority would have to withhold taxes and register in any state. And I think there's a policy question here of whether or not the Housing Authority and HTC want to change from being a single state California employer, which it has always been, to becoming a multi-state employer, allowing people to work from any state.
Okay, so do the other commissioners have a question in regards to that?
I don't have a question, but it sounds like in reference to the way things are with pandemics and everything else, it's probably a question that we need to have a discussion on and make a decision on. And I'm sure it's something that the full board really needs to input. So was your request that you want to bring it forward at the next meeting?
Yes.
Without us being here at this thing to see the actual resolution, correct?
And yeah, and there would be a resolution provided before the meeting. It's just not ready for this meeting.
Yeah, I think, just in my opinion, Madam Chair, being this committee is really just kind of a pass-through committee to kind of just get the flavor of stuff to make sure we're going in the right direction for the full board. I think it's definitely a full board issue that needs to be discussed. So I personally, Kathleen, don't have a problem if we want to move that, give them the authority to bring it forward, at least in my opinion. Thank you.
I have
I think this deserves more than just a conversation. I think this requires a kind of informational session for the board, because this would require, this is not just a simple, we're going to have people work remotely from whatever state, because what happens is you have to become a multi-state employer. So is the Housing Authority of the County of Monterey in the position to become a multi-state employer? So there's financial impact, there's an operational impact. So I think it is there's a little bit of a disconnect in knowledge when we say people can work remotely from any location. Whenever you have a person working outside the state, you must be a registered employer in that state. And therefore you have to have workers' compensation policies in that state. You have to have unemployment policies in that state. You have to have all these different factors. So I think there's information that needs to be presented before we would move to a resolution stage, because this is really a business operational and an expense that we have to decide, can the Housing Authority afford to be a multi-state employer? And is there is there a precedent where a small, quasi-government entity, representing a county have employees in various states? We have to look at that. So I think there's a lot of that needs to be looked at before a decision would be made on something like this, because it does have a large operational impact. Because
And,
we could be
I-
facing
okay.
penalties.
Commissioner Goodwin, before I ask my question, did you have a question or did you want to say something?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, so, Tori, my question to you, besides all the information that Darlene mentioned that I think is very important, was Jalay able to go over this resolution, or was she able to provide some input?
Yes, and her partner, James Diamond, who's the HR expert,
Mhm.
was also able to provide counsel.
Okay,
And so they recommended that this was a decision that the board should make. And I think to Darlene's point, there's a lot of unknowns. And the board could authorize us to go forward and find out those things and come back.
okay,
The board could say, no, we don't want to be a multi-state employer. There's a lot of different directions that the board could go.
Mhm.
I would agree that I would not recommend, it wouldn't be a staff recommendation that the board would immediately just say yes without knowing all of the impacts.
Okay, thank you, Tori. So, do we want to go ahead and, make a motion to send this resolution, or do we want information first on this resolution?
So since
I don't-
since I already was the first one, those are some really excellent points, and thank you for that information about, what's around it. Maybe it would be smarter for it to be an agendized item for us to discuss it and see if it's even a direction we want to go before we spend the time and effort to make a resolution. So it sounds like it's a lot more involved than I even had a understanding of it all. So maybe we need to just put it on next week's agenda if you're able to get everything that's research done and everything else, or but before that, and let the full board discuss it and see whether or not it's even someplace we want to go. Originally, I thought it would be as simple as, people working remotely from anywhere. I wasn't aware of this if you're working out of state and all that stuff, which sounds like it could also be turn into a nightmare too of, keeping track of and everything else that we need to do. So
Yeah,
my
just
thoughts, Madam Chair.
just
Yeah,
knowing the employment laws in every state becomes quite cumbersome. And so you would need to change one of the implications would be we would have to change the scope of work for the director of HR. They would have to be a multi-state director. So that would be an impact, but we can get all that information together and have some key bullet points for the discussion next week.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
okay.
Mhm.
So are we gonna do a motion or no?
Well, I mean, if we want to if I could, then maybe a motion to bring a agenda item forward. I don't know if that's going to require a motion or not. Bring an agenda item forward at the next meeting of the entire board to discuss whether or not the housing authority wants to get involved in allowing out-of-state employment. I'm trying to figure out the way I would word it, Kathleen, to be honest with you, but understanding what we just discussed. I don't know if would that require a resolution, Troy, Darlene? I mean,
No,
So
I think we just add it as a discussion item put it under personnel. And we can include it, we can revamp the personnel packet, and then that would be added as a discussion item. We can move it forward as a discussion.
And maybe if we need to, Tori, if we need to, if, because of the situation of that, of an employee working right now out of state, we could always try to see if we could schedule a special meeting to get that resolution approved, like we did the AB 3, it was like a 5-minute meeting.
Yep.
We could do that.
Mhm.
Tori.
I think a discussion item is entirely appropriate. I just wasn't sure of the practice of whether you guys did discussion items or just resolutions.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and maybe you could let Gabriela know to add it as a discussion item. I would say that it would be, Darlene, do you agree it should be on new business or would it be? Because we're gonna,
Yeah, we could put it, what we could do is we can put it under new business and we can make it a discussion item
okay,
at this point. And then what will happen is then, you know, we'll do some research. We'll have to put like maybe like a 1-pager together of the
Okay.
implication of what it could be, because, you know, I just want to make sure that, you know, the board is fully informed about, you know, what responsibilities, what new responsibilities the agency would have to take on doing that.
Right.
So we can put a 1-sheeter together and then we can have a conversation around it in the
Okay.
board meeting. And then from there, you guys can make a recommendation, the board can make a recommendation on what we should do for next steps. So this may be something where we bring a resolution maybe to a special meeting or, you know, roll it to next month's meeting.
okay.
Mhm.
All right, sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, so the next item, because I don't have anything in front of me, is, housing programs report. Is that Maria?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Maria, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. Pretty much, my housing programs is on your report, but I did want to let the board know that I am currently working with our office assistants to concentrate on our housing choice voucher applications. So we are working on we sent out 100 letters to the first people on the waiting list to verify their preference. So we could start issuing 8 regular HCVs. And as you can see, we're still entering applications for project base. So you can see our number has increased. So pretty much staff is keeping on track with all their annuals, getting them all done, their interims. We did have our housing navigator start. She is now connecting with our partner agencies to work with the families so we could secure housing. So that's one of our main component that we really want to concentrate is to try to lease our emergency housing vouchers. So as you can see on the report, we're still keeping up with our utilization. We are interviewing. We just received some more referrals for from the foster youth. So we're working on that. Unless the board has any questions for me.
Well, and an important thing to point out, it's not included in the December report because it happened in January, but just so you know, we were awarded, is it 60 more VASH vouchers?
Yes.
So good news, we can serve more VASH eligible folks.
Yeah.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Right.
Those that, remember there was a time you were accepting applications, so there's some people on the waiting list. Is that you still processing those? I don't know if it was October, November.
Yes, yes, as you could see on the 2000, the ones from 2017, I only have 2 families are on that waiting list because they requested to continue to stay on there for medical needs. And from the 2020 to 2021, those are the ones that I'm working with staff right now, sending them a preference letter to verify. Because when they submitted an application, they marked that they qualified for all these preferences. So when we bring them in, then we find out that they don't qualify. So we have to put them back on the waiting list because it's not their turn based on the preference and date and time. So in order for us to issue, we have to verify their preference that they still qualify. But yes, we're working on those waiting lists from October and November. And there's, I believe it's 2,978. It's on the
Okay.
top. Yeah, we're working on that. We're working on that waiting list and also for regular emergency housing vouchers and all the other programs that are under the umbrella under Section 8.
Okay. Alrighty. And I have one more question, Maria. Out of those that are on the waiting list that applied, how do they know if they're emergency? How do they know if they're emergency? Is it because they're homeless, or is it because what you interview them for? Or
Well, it's a combination. I mean, we have the emergency housing vouchers that is on our website. We also have our, I believe it's over 15 partner agencies. So we work throughout the community. But when someone calls in, we kind of, we start a dialogue with the family, and if we see that they are homeless, then we refer them to one of our partner agencies. Also, when they submitted their application, if they mark that they're homeless, we need to verify which partner agency, or if they're being referred under the homeless set aside voucher program. So, we work with all with the clients. And so we try to, we kind of direct them where they need to be in contact with what organization. And, we do get a lot of phone calls.
okay. All right. So those that are on the waiting list, so as an example, they can call you. I mean, they could call the agency and say, you know what? I'm homeless. I'm on the waiting list. So is that person considered emergency homeless or no?
Not necessarily, because we work with the coalition. They have their own scoring, so they would meet with the client, and they have their eligibility criteria. So if they don't meet the needs for the program, then they refer them under another partner agency under the housing set aside vouchers. And they would need to be referred from that agency in order for them to be considered that they are homeless.
Okay. Got it. Thank you so much, Maria.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else have any questions for Maria?
No questions, but that's great news about getting the extra vouchers and the BASH vouchers. And thank you for a comprehensive report, Maria.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll go to the next item, which is any future agenda items? Darlene, Tori, Maria?
I just wanted to put that I did not finish getting the HR scorecard together. So I'm working on finishing that. 90% of the report stays the same. The only major update out of the HR and personnel, obviously, is we're working on getting the HDC employees moved over, but we are also transitioning to a new payroll HR system. So we are moving away from ADP and we are moving to Paylocity. This new format and program will allow more involvement from the employees, and it will have better tracking of leave, vacation. Employees will be able to log in and handle their own updating of information. So we're really moving away from a paper system. So if you have a change of address or change of withholding, you can actually go and log in and manage that all yourself. So we've been working on migrating over to this system so that we would have greater reports, greater information, and really moving away from the paper-driven system that the agencies had for years. So we're hoping to have that fully integrated and up in January.
Okay.
I'll include the report and get that ready before it goes to the board packet.
Okay, great. I do want to mention, because of when we had the joint meeting with the Board of Supervisors regarding employees, I guess there was some concerns mentioned by Supervisor Alejo. I'm not sure if Supervisor Wendy Askew mentioned it, but it was in regards to the relationship, the work employer-employee relationship. I don't know if the agency can provide an update, maybe you know, have some collaboration with those employees. You
Mhm.
know, I guess because too, some of the people that addressed in that joint, there was people from the public, and I believe it wasn't employees. I think it
Mhm.
was just maybe families or friends
Could
of
be.
these employees, because they
Mhm.
were, the actual employees were afraid to address.
Mhm.
And as far as I know, in public meetings, any can address in a public meeting without being retaliated. As far as I know,
Absolutely.
the law protects them to be able to voice their concern in any public meeting. So I
Mhm.
just want, I don't know, a communication sent that employees are able to voice their concerns, even
Mhm.
in our board meeting, because
Mhm.
it is a public meeting and they're protected because
Mhm.
it's a public meeting and they're able to voice their concern without being retaliated. So I don't know if there's a communication that can be sent, but also I wanted to include collaboration or any group meetings that you know, you have with the employees.
Mhm.
If, you know, so that way they feel comfortable that they could address their concerns. But I also want to mention, sometimes there are employees that can be, how can I say it? And I'm gonna say it in quotes. They can be employees that are not meeting their
Mhm.
performance, and
Mhm.
yet they're the ones that can be the ones that have concerns, but because they're not meeting the standards, they feel like they're being retaliated. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, it's very situational, but I think it's a very good idea. Like we say, sending out a communication, letting them know that their voice is important and having them bring forth their concerns, because we can't correct something or address a concern if it's not brought to us. So
Mhm.
if it's being brought forward to somebody else to communicate to us, so we could work on getting a communication out. You know, we
Yeah,
need
and
to circle back on the HR director recruitments as well.
and Commissioner, I guess, while I would never want to restrict someone from talking to the board, if somebody
Mhm.
has an issue, I would want them to come to me first, and I
Yeah,
would want to
and-
put that in the communication,
Yes.
that they should feel free to come and share concerns with me.
Mhm.
And if they're not satisfied, then they can always address the board.
Yeah.
Are correct.
Just so
Mhm.
you know, I did go over to the HDC offices. I met with all the employees who were there, and kind of had an open question and answer session about this process. You know, and I think it generally went well. I think we will be able to reunite these two entities, and a lot of folks are on board
Mhm.
with not having the antagonistic relationship that they currently have had in the past between the two entities. So I have high hopes that by and large, most of the employees are on board with this transition.
Okay. And I don't know, you know, Darlene or Tori, if it's on there like a restructuring update on the agenda?
It is not.
No?
We
Okay.
can add that. We can add it on there. I think it'll be great if the communication, I think it would be a great opportunity. Tori can put together a communication to go out to the employees, because
Mhm.
now he's in the office. We're going to be doing the board meeting where we officially go in and do the resolution. I believe that resolution's coming together of fully authorizing Tori as the interim executive director and transitioning me out of that role. So I think it would be great for the communication to come from him. You know, he's already sent out an announcement, you know, about open door policy and things like that. So maybe he can just get a little bit more detail in there, and that urge them to come and have a dialogue with him, because he will be a new person
Yes.
and with a, you know, a clean slate to communicate with. So I think
Oh.
it's great things right there.
Yes. Thank you
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
much. Commissioner Miller or Commissioner Goodwin, do you have anything else?
No, I agree with you, and I appreciate, Tori, that you you went out and made that contact and, start to work on that relationship to merge the two entities together. So thank you.
Commissioner Goodwin?
No, I'm fine. I'm glad that we're bridging the gap, so to speak,
Okay,
and making peace with everybody.
all right, thank
Thank you.
you. Okay, so we'll go to number 8, commissioner comments. We'll begin with Commissioner Goodwin.
I'm glad I made it on time. I didn't check my email. I had company earlier and I apologize. Thank you, Gabriella, for contacting me via my phone. That really helped. And I'll see you guys next week.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Miller?
Just thanks for figuring out the resolutions that we moved on, because it's important so people kind of understand where they fit into the organization and everything now. So I appreciate that. And thank you again, everyone. Darlene, thank you for working from close, probably 3,000 miles away or right around there. And Troy, sir, welcome. And I appreciate everything that I've seen you do so far and everything else. So hopefully we get through this period and can stabilize this organization and get moving on the track that we're supposed to, and providing, housing for people and getting people into housing. So it's appreciated. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I did all everybody's comments, and thank you, and Gabriella or whoever called, text me. Thank you so much. Like I said, I was checking my emails this morning, so I apologize to all of you because you're all on a timeline. So my apologies to all of you. And I'm going to be reviewing these resolutions tonight, this evening, and make sure I go over it. And also because I am the chair for the personnel committee, and so and any questions I come up with, I'll make sure to address them on the board meeting.
Yes,
So-
and if there's errors in there, please let me know.
Okay, so with
Okay.
that, I will close this meeting at 3:19. And Darlene, real quick, do we have a finance committee meeting with HDC
Yes, I believe Paul said we have one at 3:30.
at 3:30?
Yes,
Okay, and so that means Nora would have sent, because I'm gonna
Yeah.
look for, okay.
yeah. So if Gabriella, if you have that link, can you send it to my personal email? Because my internet is not working for my Hackham laptop.
Yeah, I could send it to both of you.
Okay.
Yeah, if you, that would
Send
be
it-
great. You can jump on that.
Send it to my Yahoo and then I'll be ready to receive it. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank
Tori,
you.
welcome.
Thank
and I
you.